In this lecture, we will discuss two main properties. There is the convolution property of continuous time Fourier transform, and we will also discuss the multiplication property. And we will also see how we can apply the convolution property to solve continuous time Fourier transform questions. For the convolution theorem, we can represent the convolution of two signals. For example, x1 of t convolution x2 of t. It can be expressed as integral minus infinity to infinity x1 of tau into x2 of t minus 2 beta. So the convolution integral equation we can expand like this: integral minus infinity to infinity x1 of tau into x2 of t minus 2 into beta. If you observe this particular equation, you can see that there is an integration operation, multiplication, and so. So this particular equation involves many operations. But if you know the transform of x1 of t, that is the continuous time Fourier transform of x1 of t, and which is represented as x1 of j omega, and similarly the transform of x2 of t, which is x2 of j omega, then the convolution of two signals x1 of t convolution x2 of t can be written as by using the property of convolution. It should be the multiplication of x1 of j omega into x2 of j omega. It's a very important property. Convolution in time domain becomes multiplication in frequency domain. So this is one of the advantages of transform. That the complex operation in time domain becomes multiplication in frequency domain. We can think in that way also. So this is a very important property. So please remember this convolution property. It's very useful when you solve problems or when you discuss the communication and sharing problems. So x1 of t convolution x2 of t, that's a time domain equation. When you move to frequency domain, this operation becomes simple multiplication. So here it is simple multiplication, here it is the convolution operation. And now we can discuss about the proof. So if you want the Fourier transform of the signal x1 of t convolution x2 of t, we can substitute in the standard equation, that is integral minus infinity to infinity x1 of t convolution x2 of t into e raised to minus j omega t dt. And the x1 of t convolution x2 of t we already written in the standard form, that is integral minus infinity to infinity x1 of tau x2 of t minus tau beta. So you can substitute this expression here. So the equation becomes integral minus infinity to infinity, and instead of this convolution equation, we can write integral minus infinity to infinity x1 of tau into x2 of t minus 2 beta. Okay. And e raised to minus j omega t dt. So here in this particular equation, actually two variables are there. One is t and another one is t. So we can group one variable first. So we can choose the t variable. So here we can see one dt, and here e raised to minus j omega t contain t, and this x2. So we can change the order of integration, and we can write like this. The terms integral minus infinity to infinity x2 of t minus 2 into e raised to minus j omega t dt. In this particular expression, there is a term x2 of t minus 2 and e raised to minus j omega t and dt. If we group all these terms, we can simply write this is actually the Fourier transform of the signal x2 of t minus 2. Okay. If we closely observe this particular equation, which is the Fourier transform of x2 of t minus 2, by applying the shifting property, you can write it becomes e raised to minus j omega 2 x2 of j omega. Here you can apply the time shifting property. If you know the transform of x2 of t, then you can find the Fourier transform of x2 of t minus 2. If the Fourier transform of x2 of t is x2 of j omega, then the Fourier transform of x2 of t minus 2 is e raised to minus j omega 2 into x naught. We can substitute this result in the previous equation. So it becomes integral minus infinity to infinity. We already evaluated one integral, and the remaining term is x1 of 2 into e raised to minus j omega 2 x2 of j omega into d2, because we already evaluated the three variables. Now the variable is 2, but x2 of j omega is a function with variable omega, so you can consider as a constant. You can take outside x2 of j omega, and remaining term, if you write integral minus infinity to infinity x1 of 2 e raised to minus j omega 2 beta. So if you observe this particular equation, this is actually the Fourier transform of x1 of tau. Instead of t, here it is written as tau. It's only different. So you can write simply x2 of j omega into x1 of j omega. This is actually the Fourier transform of the signal x1 of t. So now this is a proof of Fourier transform of x1 of t convolution x1 of t can be written as the product of x1 of j omega into x2 of j omega. Similarly, there is one more property that is actually known as the convolution frequency domain, or it's also known as the multiplication property. This is just opposite of the previous property. In the previous case, the convolution is performed in time domain. Now convolution is in frequency domain. So convolution in frequency domain becomes multiplication in time domain. So either we can call it as a multiplication property or frequency convolution here. Here, the transform of x1 of t is written as x1 of j omega, and the transform of x2 of t is given by x2 of j omega. Then the product of two signals x1 of t into x2 of t. In the previous case, it was convolution. Now it is multiplication, and the convolution Fourier transform is simply the convolution operation in frequency domain. That is x1 of j omega convolution x2 of j omega. In the previous case, the convolution in time domain becomes multiplication frequency domain. Now the convolution operation in frequency domain and equivalent operation time is multiplication. There is only an extra term, that's 1 by 2 pi. So this is actually convolution property or multiplication property. You can prove this theorem similar to the previous one. So I'll skip this portion and I will move to next one. And here we need to find the inverse continuous time Fourier transform of the following signal. X of j omega is given by 1 by a plus j omega the whole square. Here we need to apply the convolution property in time domain, because if you know the property x1 of t convolution x2 of t, and the transform will be like this: x1 of j omega into x2 of j omega. And in the given question, x of j omega is given 1 by a plus j omega whole square. Means we can write like this: 1 by a plus j omega into 1 by a plus j omega. And the Fourier transform of the signal e raised to minus at into u of t is an exponential signal. It's simply a plus j omega. And this is standard result. We already derived this relation. The Fourier transform of the signal e raised to minus at into u of t. Okay. Now, now we need to find the inverse Fourier transform of the signal x of j omega. Here, if you observe the equation, it's actually a product of two terms: 1 by a plus j omega into 1 plus j omega. So we can assume that this is the transform of x1 of j omega, and this is the transform of x of j. So if you find the inverse, it's actually a product of two terms: So equivalent operation in time domain becomes multiplication. Sorry, here it is a multiplication operation. So the inverse operation will be the convolution. See, if there is a product of two signals, x1 of j omega into x of j omega, the corresponding operation in time domain becomes convolution. So here we can write simply x1 of t convolution x of t. You can write like this. So the two signals are same here, 1 by a plus j omega, and the transform is 1 by a plus j omega, means the time domain signal is e raised to minus 80 into u of t. So we can write it's e raised to minus 80 into u of t convolution. The second signal is also same, so we can write e raised to minus 80 into u. So this is the inverse Fourier transform of the signal x of j omega, or 1 by a plus j omega or square. So now we can perform the convolution operations here. So applying the formula, integral minus infinity to infinity e raised to minus a tau u of tau into e raised to minus a t minus 2 into u of t minus 2 beta. Because the convolution in time domain of two signals, for example, x1 of t convolution x2 of t can be written as integral minus infinity to infinity x1 of tau into x2 of t minus 2 beta. So by applying this particular formula, you will get an expression like this. And there is two known quantities, that is u of tau and u of t minus 2. So u of tau means a step signal which exists for tau greater than 0 and 0 for tau less than 0. So if you draw the waveform, it will be like this. With respect to tau, the function magnitude is 1 from 0 onwards. This is actually u of tau. And the next signal is u of t minus tau, which is equal to 1 for t minus 2 greater than 0 or tau less than t. Okay. And 0 for tau greater than t. And if you draw the waveform, the variable is stored here, and assume that t is positive value, so it will be somewhere here, and if tau is less than t, the function magnitude is 1. So this is signal u of t minus 2. And if you observe these two signals, you can see that if you multiply u of tau and u of t minus 2, your integration becomes from 0 to t e raised to minus a tau into 1 into e raised to minus at into e raised to a tau beta. And here the variable is tau, so you can take the term e raised to minus at as outside. So remaining term 0 to t 1 dt tau, because e raised to minus a tau and e raised to a tau will be cancelled, or it becomes e raised to 0, e raised to 0 is 1. So now if you integrate this, it becomes t. So t into e raised to minus at, and we will assume that t is greater than 0. Okay, because if t is less than 0 in this particular equation, there is no common area, non-zero magnitude. If t is greater than 0, there will be some non-zero magnitude. And either you can write t into e raised to minus at, or you can, the signal is a causal signal which exists for t greater than 0. So you can write t e raised to minus at into u of t. So this is a signal x of t, or the inverse Fourier transform of the signal 1 by a plus j omega whole square. Or we can think in another way, if you find the Fourier transform of t e raised to minus at into u of t, you will get 1 by a plus j omega whole square.